It's been a while since general market conditions have been this kind to first home buyers. Today we've got Robyn Conway from Fisher Funds to talk about the things you should consider if you're planning on buying your first home. Good morning.
Good morning.
Seems like quite a big number. First home buyers making up a quarter of property purchases in the last 3 months. What is driving that?
Yes, so there are two key factors. So we have lower interest rates occurring at the moment. So just in the past 1 to 2 years, people who were purchasing their properties and looking at a fixed interest term rate would have been looking at the high sixes from an interest perspective. And that's currently sitting at the mid to high fours. So that's been impactful. And then we also have lower than average house prices. So if we wind back to January 2022, the average house price was sitting at just over $1 million. As at June 25, that's sitting at $910,000. So a good time to be getting into the market.
Okay, so if you're a first home buyer, what should you be looking to do if you want to try and take advantage of those conditions?
Yes, so there are some eligibility requirements. So you must have been in KiwiSaver for a minimum of 3 years. When you do withdraw your funds, you will need to leave $1,000 in your KiwiSaver, so it's important to factor that into the deposit amount. You do need to be living in the property, and it does need to be your first home. So there are also some second chance options, but there is very specific criteria around meeting that. So we do encourage people to look at the Kāinga Ora website to understand all of those requirements. The other things that we would consider or encourage people to think about is saving as much as possible. KiwiSaver is a great vehicle to do that. You can set your contributions higher and have it automatically happening before there's any temptation to spend your money. And also to think about tidying up your spending. So when applying for a mortgage, the banks are going to want to see responsible money habits. They're going to want to make sure that you're paying your bills and that you're not living beyond your means, essentially.
So when you're looking at maybe using your KiwiSaver, earlier in the week we talked about this idea of rent vesting, so you might buy somewhere and then rent elsewhere. Yes. In this instance, actually, you've got to show that intent that you're not going to use it as a property that you're making money off, right?
Yes, that's right. So not investment, it needs to be something that's owner occupied.
Okay,
yes.
And the second chance idea, I mean, that stood out to me, but that's a very rare chance that you'll be able to use that, right?
Yes, it is. And it's definitely something that you would want to speak to Kāinga Ora about and just make sure that you were meeting the criteria for that.
Okay, so you're thinking about buying your first home, you're tidying up your affairs and your finances. What about thinking about the kind of KiwiSaver you should be in to kind of maximise when you're going for that first step?
Yes, so that's also very important. So typically when people are younger or they have a longer investment time frame, they may be more inclined to be sitting in a growth or aggressive type strategy. That's not necessarily what you should be doing if you are planning on purchasing your home. So making sure that within a decent period of time, so if you're planning on purchasing in 1 to sort of 3 years, making sure that you're having a conversation with your fund provider around the type of fund that you should be in. Similarly, when you have withdrawn your funds, it's very important to, again, reset and have a conversation around what that strategy will look like for the long term.
Okay, Robyn Conway from Fisher Funds, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.